So coming up next on the show, I want to take a look at Harry Potter and the Cursed Child. Of course, the big theatrical production that has been in Melbourne now, I think for nearly 3 years, because of all the COVID lockdowns and everything. It's kept on being extended, and finally I got a chance to head along and see it. I just couldn't find the time to go along and see it when it was a two-parter. With everything else that I have to cover, it was very, very difficult to get an entire day to go along and see a 6-hour production. So I've waited until the condensed version has come about. And I have to say, I was absolutely enthralled. Now, something happened last night that was unfortunate, and it's something that could sometimes ruin a production for you. About 25 minutes into the production, somebody in the audience collapsed, and people got up and yelled for the production to stop. The production did stop, the lights came on, and we all had to sit around for about 40 minutes while paramedics got there and treated the person and took them away. Now, quite often, that kind of thing can ruin a night out at the theatre. You never quite get back into the show when the show picks back up. But I think what I realised last night was how good this show was, because even after all of that, I never lost my train of thought with the show. When it picked back up, I got into it straight away. There was no, I just can't get back into this now because I've been sitting here for 40 minutes. I literally found myself engrossed in the story as soon as it picked up. Now, I'm going to try and do this review without too many spoilers, because one of the things that I found so great about the production last night was how many times I sat there in awe of not only the things that were happening on stage, but the characters that appeared and how they were written into the story. So my plot line for the production is going to be pretty basic, because I don't want to ruin those surprises for people that are heading along to check out the production. Now, basically, this whole theatrical production centers around Albus Potter, played by Ben Walter, and the relationship that he has with his father, Harry Potter, played by Gareth Reeves. Now, when Albus first attends Hogwarts, he finds himself with some confusing things going on. For some reason, he's already told himself that he's going to be put into Slytherin, which turns out to be true. And then his life kind of changes a little bit because he meets Scorpius Malfoy, played by Nix Calder, and they instantly bond and become friends, which damages the relationship that Albus has with Rose Granger Weasley, played by Aisha Idara, who doesn't want to have anything to do with the Malfoys. Now, of course, as I said, the relationship between Harry and Albus is already fractured. And after 3 years at Hogwarts and the things that have happened to Albus, that relationship falls apart to the point where during a fight, Harry screams at Albus that he sometimes wishes that he wasn't his son, which kinds of puts everything in motion. And soon, Scorpius and Albus find themselves in a little bit of a pickle that ends up resulting in Hermione, played by Paula Ardenal, Harry, Ron, played by Michael Whaley, and Draco Malfoy, played by Lachlan Woods, all having to become involved to help out. Now, it's difficult for me to say this, but from my point of view, the theatrical production itself was a lot better than the story. I'm not saying that I didn't love the story. I didn't like the story, I should say. What I'm saying is I found that I didn't love the story as much as I have the films. I thought there was a few things lacking in the story, and maybe that would have been different if I'd seen the two-parter and it had been in depth. But for one of the things that really kind of annoyed me was the name of the production kind of in itself gives away something that should have been a secret in the story. I also felt at times that there were spots in this where I was missing something, that I wanted something more from the story and it wasn't there. Having said that though, I did still enjoy the journey, but I think what I enjoyed more about this production was the special moments that happen. The surprises at how they do the magic on stage. Some of the things that they do where people disappear on stage and you find yourself thinking, how the hell did that just happen? Like, how is that even possible to do in a theatre when that's happened right in front of me? Some of the effects that happen right around the entire theatre, not just on stage, are absolutely spectacular. They're things that I have never seen before. There is a moment just before the intermission that I know people out there who have seen the production will know what I'm talking about. That is one of the best things I have ever seen in a theatre in Australia, and it was absolutely amazing. I'm not going to ruin it because it is a surprise, but for those that have already seen the production, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. The other thing that, as I've already previously mentioned, is some of the characters that pop up is just absolutely fantastic. I didn't think that some of the characters that did turn up would turn up, and when they do in the production is absolutely amazing. I'll try not to mention too many of those characters because I want you guys to go along and see the surprise that happens. Now, I want to talk a little bit about the acting. I thought the acting for this production was absolutely fantastic. Ben Walter and Nix Calder are absolutely brilliant as Scorpius and Albus. They have some big futures ahead of them, and I can't wait to see where they go next. When it comes to the portrayals of characters that we've known and loved over the years, I thought that was done quite well as well. I thought Gareth Reeves was really, really good as Harry Potter. I do not envy Gareth Reeves. That would have been such a tough role to take, stepping into a role that the entire world knows and has been made famous by one actor over the years. It's not even like naming a new James Bond, because of course the whole world knows Daniel Radcliffe as Harry Potter, and that's it. So for him to step into that role and play it the way that he does is absolutely amazing. I also thought Lucy Golby was great as Ginny Potter. Of all of the actors playing roles that we've seen previously in the films, she is probably the most natural and the closest to what we've seen in the films. I thought she was absolutely amazing in that role. I am going to mention a character that pops up here as a bit of a surprise. So if you want to tune out for a bit, tune out now, because I'm going to talk about a character that pops up just because the performance from the actress playing the role was so good. Hannah Fredrickson is absolutely amazing as Moaning Myrtle. She stole the show. She had the audience laughing, the audience cheering. Absolutely fantastic role by her. To sum up, I take my hat off to John Tiffany, the director. This is an absolutely fantastic production. Like I said, I thought perhaps the story lacked at times, but the visuals and what I was seeing in front of me more than made up for that. I hear the phrase theatre spectacular thrown around so often, and when you go and see it, it just doesn't hold up to it. But this really was an absolute stage spectacular. It was absolutely amazing. So many things happened during this production that will just surprise the socks off you. It is amazing the work of art that they've been able to create by putting this production together. I'm actually sad that it's going to leave. This is the kind of thing that I wish in 20, 30 years I could go back and see again. So I'm kind of sad that it's going to leave Melbourne soon. Hopefully one day it comes back, and hopefully one day maybe it comes back as a two-parter when my life is a little bit different and I haven't got so many things I've got to cover for work, and I might actually be able to head along and check it out. I'm still thinking at some stage in the next couple of years I wouldn't mind going overseas to see the two-part. I think you can justify it more if you're overseas of spending a day doing a 6-hour production. But for all of the Harry Potter fans out there, make sure you go along and check out Harry Potter and the Cursed Child, because it is absolutely amazing.